All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this first episode of RCAA TV. My name is Mr. Seaver. I'm going to be working with you for the rest of this 7th grade year in math. For some of you guys, that's going to mean that I'm making these videos and you're going to follow along during Pride Block or during math class. For others of you, I'm actually going to be working in your math class as one of your teachers this year. And today our first video is going to focus on something called Story of Me, Story of Us, and Story of Now. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm going to tell you something about ourselves, and then we're going to talk a little bit about where we're going together. Here are a couple things about me. This is my second year working at Renewed Cultural Arts Academy. It's my 8th year living in New Orleans overall. Before I worked at RCAA, I did a couple other fun jobs in the city. I worked for a construction company. I worked in a restaurant, and I did some volunteering at some different spots. Before I came down to Louisiana, I lived in the great state of New York. And because I'm from New York, for better or worse, I've always been a really big Knicks fan. Incredibly excited about the team we've got this year. I think that for the first time in a long time, the New York Knicks are going places. So I love to watch basketball. I also love to play basketball. You can ask Kedrick about that. And I also like to play soccer. So I love sports. I love working at school. And another thing I really enjoy is reading books. This is a photo from one of my bookshelves at my house. No, I have not read all of those books, but I've read many of them, and I hope to read them all someday. So that's the story of me. Now I'm going to move on to the story of us. That's us people that work and study at Renew Cultural Arts Academy. Now, you might not know this, but in just 2010, only 7 years ago, this school, which was called Live Oak Elementary School back then, was the lowest performing school in all of Louisiana. Now, I'm sure if you go out and ask many of your teachers why they teach at this school, one of the reasons that you will hear a lot is that they want to turn around this school. And they want to prove that it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter how you start. It doesn't matter if you start as the worst performing school in all of Louisiana. You can go on with hard work, with lots of grit and perseverance. You can go on and do great things. And this is one of the reasons I teach at RCAA. And this is one of the reasons that you have so many great teachers that work so hard for you, is they want to turn this school into something that we can all be proud of. That's something that you can come back to in 10 or 15 years and know that this school lifted you up to a bigger and better place. So we started 7 years ago as the lowest performing school in all of Louisiana. And that sounds pretty bad, but the reality is that with hard work you can do some incredible things. So one of the reasons that I'm so excited to teach this group of 7th graders is that last year, and you might not know this as well, but last year this group of 7th graders that was in 6th grade was the highest performing group of math students in the entire Renewed network. That means we beat Schaumburg, DTA, SciTech, MCPA, and we didn't just beat them by a little bit. We beat our next competitor by 10 points on the leap. So for me, what makes me so incredibly excited to work with this group is that I know y'all have already brought a certain level of greatness to this school, and I really can't wait to see what we do next. Now, the last thing I want to show you is this graph that shows your grade's math performance for the entire city of New Orleans. So you can see, if you look down at the x-axis of this graph, every single public school in New Orleans that took the 6th grade leap last year is listed here. And while we were the top school in the entire Renew network, you can find us right towards the upper middle of the city there. We were better than most. We beat out most of the schools that we went up against, but you can still see that there's a lot of these other schools over here that ended up the year a little bit, or in some cases, a good number of points higher than us. So to me, this is not something to feel disappointed about. It just means that we have room to grow. And so when I think about what I hope you accomplish this year, it's to do the following thing. Last year we were upper middle in the city. This year we need to be shooting for the very top of the city. We want to be the top math class in the entire city of New Orleans and crush every single one of those schools that beat us last year. Now, you guys already have a reputation within this school as being one of the hardest working grades, of being one of the smartest grades, and one of the most accomplished grades. And I truly do believe that if any group in the city, any group in our school can be top in the city, it is this group of students right here, the 7th graders at RCAA. So you've heard my story, you've heard a little bit about yourself, and we've talked about where we're trying to go, which is to be the top school in the city. The last thing I want you to do to close out this episode is fill out the Google form so that I can learn a little bit more about you and help you achieve whatever it is that you want to get out of your time here. Thanks for watching. I hope you had a good time, and I'll see you around.